This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, we are joining together today to do our toilet training class. It is part of our self-care series. My name is Katya Pinta and I'm the Autism Services Education Specialist. I have my Bachelor's of Science in Special Education and I've also been a special education teacher. I was a teacher for 5 years in Northeast Independent School District where I taught ALE as well as PPCD or ECS. I've also been a special needs gymnastics coach for the past 12 years. Just a quick overview of Any Baby Can. We do serve ages 0 to 21 depending on the program, and we serve all medical conditions and developmental delays. We serve Berry County and the 18 surrounding counties, and we have offices in San Antonio, New Braunfels, and at the Methodist Children's Hospital and CHOSA. We have case management, autism services, prescription assistance, sibling support, and Center for Infant and Child Loss. So if y'all are interested in any of those programs, please contact us so that we can give you more information. We also have a product line called the ABCs of Autism. We are also on Instagram at the ABCs of Autism. We have free downloads as well as very low cost visuals for sale. Okay, so today we're going to talk about barriers that have to do with toilet training. We're going to talk about data sheets, how you can collect data, you can decide on reinforcers and a plan, and how to individualize supports and materials. And then you will get some digital downloads that you will receive, and you can start the plan. And you can always call us for follow-up support. So the purpose of this training, we want to learn how to develop a plan to begin toilet training your student. We also need to learn the steps because there's going to be different types of plans. And then we want to learn how to individualize that. So important reasons to toilet train. Obviously, first one is independence, right? We want them to be independent adults. It can also reduce the likelihood of molestation or unwanted and inappropriate touches. It can also decrease the financial burden. We know how expensive diapers and pull-ups are, especially over a long period of time. It helps families realize increased independence, resources, interactions, and social acceptance. It can also reduce the impact of other family members. And it also improves socialization with peers. Another thing I want to add is it also increases the self-esteem of those children that do end up getting potty trained. So research has indicated that children who are not trained to use the bathroom have higher rates of challenging behaviors and are described as having lower self-esteem, decreased confidence, low levels of concentration, and difficulties with irritability and non-compliance. When we're talking about IEP goals and really that individualized plan, if they're not potty trained, that should already be a goal in their plan. We want to make sure that they're getting potty trained, that they are becoming independent as much as possible. By having that sense of independence, it really will help with those challenging behaviors that you're going to be seeing. And the way that we also reinforce and replace certain behaviors goes along with toilet training as well. So I want you to think of these questions and maybe pick one student that's not potty trained in your class and kind of think of the answers to these. Why is it important for me to teach my student to use the toilet? Am I willing to spend the time and effort to help my student learn how to use the toilet? And then what can get in the way to prevent my efforts to teach my student to use the toilet? So I'm going to give you 1 minute, and I want you to really think about all these questions. I'm going to put my timer on, and you can get started. 30 more seconds. All right. So let's talk about these. Why is it important for me to teach my students to use the toilet? Kind of everything that we just talked about. Independence, confidence, being able to, this is kind of a prerequisite for when they get older. If they're not toilet trained, they're not going to be able to go to maybe a normal daycare after school or have a job later on in life. Are you willing to spend the time and effort to have your student learn how to use the toilet? We do have to spend time doing this. I know sometimes it's hard. We have 10 kids in our class. We're the teacher. We have maybe one assistant, and everyone's going every which way. That's where we need to look at it. Okay, I need to create a schedule, and I need to think of this as just as an important skill as academics or anything else. What can get in the way? Well, behavior. That's a big one. They don't want to go to the bathroom. Or they're going, every 30 minutes in their pull-up and they're missing, they're not going when it's time. Or, oh my gosh, we have to sit here for 15 minutes before he goes. There's a lot of things that can get in the way, but we have to remember how important it is at the end of the day to be potty trained. And if it's not working, we might need to change what we're doing. So now we need to think of, are they ready to be toilet trained? We need to think about, can they communicate their needs either behaviorally or verbally? So this doesn't mean like, hey miss, I need to go to the bathroom. Are they coming up to you and maybe tugging on you? Are they running to the bathroom? Or are they, when they want something, do they scream and cry? That's an indicator that they're wanting something. It's just they're doing it through behavior, not necessarily verbally. They have a preference in activities, food, and or toys. They may hide in other places to eliminate. They might go under the slide and outside, or they might go into a corner. They respond to praise, even if it's minimal. They might smile and laugh. And they sit on the toilet maybe without eliminating, but they look at you for praise. And they respond differently to environmental changes. If there was, you're in the classroom and there was a loud noise, they respond to it. Okay, here's another thing. They might let you know that their diaper's wet. So they might pull on it, tug on it, or they'll just take it out. I had a kiddo who actually did that quite often when we were first starting the process of toilet training. He hated being wet, and every time he was wet, he would just take it off and throw it on the ground. So that was something that we had to really work on. And he was letting me know that he was wet and needed to be changed. They may remain dry for 1 to 2 hours. This one is really important. They have a mental age of 18 to 24 months. That is usually, at 2 years old, that's really when we're starting to potty train. But if maybe they're at a 6-month-old level, they may not be ready yet. So we need to make sure that mentally they're at 18 to 24 months. Also, the child chronologically is 2 years or older. They might dress or undress, they make attempts, right? Also, there's no additional stress. So maybe mom just had a new baby, probably not the best time to start potty training. Moving to a new home, maybe moving schools. We're gonna still try to potty train, but we might need to give it some time. Child remains dry during naps and through the night. So these are just all certain pre-readiness or readiness indicators. Doesn't mean they have to do all of them, but you should be checking off quite a few of these. All right. We're doing an activity, and I want you can reply either yes or no. And Johnny is 2 years old. Is he ready to be toilet trained? This one's kind of a trick, because it could be, right? He's 2, chronologically, yes, but what out of his mental age is 6 months, and probably not. So we need to make sure we're really looking at that mental age. Mary smiles when her mom tells her good job after sitting in the car seat. Yeah, she's reacting to praise. Josh runs around with his diaper wet without fuss for longer than 30 minutes. Maybe not. He doesn't really care if it's wet. He's not noticing it. Belly tugs at her diaper and begins to whine when her diaper's wet. Yeah, she's showing you she's ready to be changed. Theo's mom had a baby 3 days ago, and Theo is not used to the new baby. No, please do not try to potty train at that time. It's stressful for you. It's stressful for the kid. He's already going through a lot of changes, so that is not the best time. So these are just some of the readiness indicators that you can send to parents or determining your readiness as a teacher. It definitely needs to be a team decision. You know, at the art, I really recommend this being a goal because the parents are going to need to work on it as well. So some possible barriers that you might face. The lack of social motivation to use the bathroom. Also, they may be less likely to imitate others. So if you're starting to work on this, start also working on other ways to imitate. So you might be doing Simon Says games, just following along, follow the leader, do games like that to increase that imitation. Difficulty understanding and following directions. That's where those visuals really come into play. If they're struggling to comprehend those verbal directions, then the visuals will really help. Difficulty with change in routine and or schedule. Every time put this in their visual schedule. It can help them know when they're going to go to the bathroom. It takes out that surprise, takes out changes. Difficulty learning tasks which involve movement, controlling hand movements, may have weak muscles. If you're seeing this, talk to your occupational therapist, maybe get a consult, see if there's anything that y'all can work on. Very easily distracted and jumps off the toilet very quickly. This is so common. They're small, they don't have a lot of it. Their attention span isn't the same as a kid who's in kindergarten. So this is probably going to be one of the biggest barriers. Motor planning difficulties, unable to plan ahead, or difficulty, they skip steps in a sequence. They might sit down, but they still have their pants on. Also, sensory sensitivity, lack of awareness of being wet or soiled, or let's say in the bathroom they just cleaned and the smell is just way too strong. Or the lighting, a lot of bathrooms have that weird like yellow light. Also the noises. I had a little girl, she was potty trained, but she hated the sound when she would eliminate, so she would do this. So we ended up giving her headphones every time she did go to the restroom. Also the feel of the toilet seat, especially for the littles. If they go on a big toilet seat, sometimes they feel like they're going to fall in it. So we need to look at all those factors when we are toilet training. Also, some more barriers, time. Takes too much time to toilet train. Other adults don't have the time. So let's say you're doing it at school, they're not doing it at home. Time of the day, the training should begin is not a good time. And as teachers, I feel like sometimes there's never a good time, right? There's always something going on, but we need to make this a priority. Other responsibilities compete for time, right? We have to get their goals done. We have to get academics in. They're missing this, they're missing that. Well, they're going to continue to that stuff though if you're having to change them every hour or 2 hours or 3 hours because they're needing a new diaper. So we have to think about it that way. It might be a lot of time at the beginning that we're spending doing toilet training, but once they've mastered it, you're going to spend a lot less time changing. You have to look at the location of it. Transitions might be difficult, right? We are learning in one bathroom and we're in music class and now we have to go to a different bathroom. Maybe there's too many places to work on toilet training. Daycare, school, mom, grandmas, babysitters, there's so many different ones. Maybe distance of the bathroom, right? Too far from your classroom, or maybe it's too far from their bedroom at home. So we need to make a plan. We need to plan ahead. If you don't have a bathroom in your classroom, where's the closest one that they can go to? And it's just easier to change him and her in different rooms of the house than having to go to the bathroom. Also, other adults are not invested. So maybe you're really invested, but maybe your assistant's not, or the parent isn't, or vice versa. Child has fear of the restroom. My last year of teaching in my PBCD class, I had a kiddo scared to death of the bathroom. It was a struggle just to get him to step 1 foot in. So that's where we started. We didn't start it just, okay, go in and sit on the toilet. Absolutely not. We started with, we need to make sure that he can even step foot in the bathroom without being scared. If you traumatize a kid by the, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to sit on the toilet, and they're freaking out, that is not going to end well. And it's going to be very scary for them. It's going to make it a lot harder for you once you do start actually toilet training. So we need to make sure that some of these things, we start where they're at and then grow and then expand. Once they're not scared of going into the bathroom, then we work on, okay, let's sit down on the toilet. But we're not going to just jump into, you need to go potty in the toilet. Lacking resources and materials for toilet training. So maybe the toilet's too big and you need a seat for it, but you're lacking that. We need to make sure that we're talking to all of our related services, principals, everything, because this is a necessity, it's a right. So we need to make sure that they have the right stuff. You may need to write it into your IEP as well. The commode is too high, they might need like a little step stool. Also, maybe the parent has limited experience with toilet training, so we need to make sure they have training as well. We do provide toilet training for parents, so if you do have a parent that let's say you're working on toilet training their child at home, send them to us and we can train them to do it at home as well. Okay. Before we start really toilet training, we need to take baseline data. So we need to see where they're at right now. So you're going to take, when does he or she use the restroom often? So right there in pull-ups. When throughout the day are they going? Are they going, you're going to look at those patterns. Are they going for right after lunch? Are they wet before school even happens? Like right when they get here? Do they go at 10 o'clock every day? And you're noticing when you're changing them, those are things that you need to write down so you can see a pattern. That frequency, how often are they having accidents? How soon after they eat do they have an accident? And then we're going to look at where and how do we start. So this is a great thing that you can just honestly put, I put it in just like a pouch, and I Velcroed it onto our bathroom door in our classroom, and I Velcroed an expo marker onto the door. That way I can keep track of every time they went to the bathroom. I put the times down, and it would be like a weekly thing, and I would put wet or dry, okay? Or did they urinate? Then that was a really easy way for me to take data for the week, especially since if they were not potty trained, they had this as a goal. Also, make sure you know their reinforcers. So if you do a reinforcement survey or you ask parents what they like, if you are going to do food in some way, that needs to be in the IEP, that parents are the ones that will be providing those snacks. But you don't just have to use snacks. You can use bubbles, you can use books, you can use a song. I had a kid who loved Cars in the movie, and so we would do a song on YouTube, and he would earn like 20 seconds every time he ended up going into the bathroom. And that was really exciting for him. So there's two types of toilet training that we're really going to learn today. In this first one, it's called contingency toilet training, and it's like scheduled training. So it refers to the type of toilet training that uses rewards and reinforcers as motivators for the child to eliminate in the toilet and not in a diaper, pull-up, or underwear. So if you've been to our class where we really are talking about the functions of behavior and positive and negative reinforcement, we're going to be using positive reinforcement for contingency toilet training. This is talking about like the rewards are provided only when the child uses the toilet or eliminates in the toilet. And this can be both tangible and social. So at the beginning, you're probably going to be using more tangible, like they get bubbles or they get a goldfish or an M&M. But as they master it more, you're going to go to more just like, yay, great job, high five, awesome. The main philosophy is really, if you go, then you get la-di-da. This can be really the first step in developing independence, but it's still not independent completely. Independent completely is they go on their own and they don't necessarily get a reward for it, right? Like every time we go to the bathroom, people don't say, oh, good job, Sam, you win. We need to get our kids there eventually. But the goal is to keep the toilet void when placed on the potty, and they withhold voiding at other times. But consistency is key. We have to be consistent, especially when you're still starting out, right? Like we are going to have certain expectations. We're going to be very clear on our expectations when we're talking about, okay, if you do this, you get this. If you say you need to go pee-pee in the potty, and then you get your goldfish. If they don't go pee-pee in the potty, then they don't get their goldfish. We can't just be like, oh, here you go. I know you tried. No, that's not going to be reinforcing what we really want to be reinforcing. So when is contingency toilet training used? They have a lot of the readiness indicators that we talked at the beginning. The individual really wants to please the adult by following directions. They have maybe some imitation skills, like if you say, if you go clap, your turn, can you clap? And they can clap. Or, oh, your turn, smile, things like that. Can they, or attempt to imitate. The individual is able to remain seated in a location for a minimum of 5 minutes. Now, I want to talk about this because we have littles and 5 minutes is tough. If they can't do it for 5 minutes, you need to just start working on sitting. Think about that kid who really struggled walking even into the bathroom door, right? Once we got him to finally get into the door, and that was consistent, he would get rewarded once he walked in, right? We would get to do songs and things like that would make it fun. Well, then we worked on sitting on the toilet. And at the beginning, it was if he just touched his bottom on the toilet and then stood right back up, tried to sit. And then it was, all right, we're going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now stand up. And as we got going, he was able to sit for longer and longer. Now, we still weren't at the point where he was able to sit for 5 minutes. But we were at the point where he was sitting for 1 or 2, and then we would change. But he would sit first, and then we'd take the diaper off and change the rest. So if they're not at that point yet, start there. Start working on sitting. They can still sit and try, right? We can still pull down the underwear. They can still sit on the potty and sit for as long as they can. But what your main goal is and what you'll be rewarding then is for sitting. And then once they are sitting for 5 minutes, then you're going to work on, okay, you're only going to get your reward when you do go pee in the potty. We're not going to reward anymore for just sitting. The individual is beginning to understand contingencies first, this, then that, or in like getting a reward for what they do. They respond to praise. And they're also able to communicate their basic needs and wants. Maybe they use a picture, like text. They grab a goldfish, they put in their hands, they get a goldfish. Or they're communicating in some sort of way, doesn't always have to be verbal. All right, so we're going to be talking about the steps to contingency toilet training. There are many different steps. So, one, you need to make sure that you have little toilets posted around your room. Okay, so you can put a cover on, laminate them, but they're pictures of the toilet. I recommend at the beginning to take a picture of the exact toilet that you're using. After that, you can change to cartoon, whatever, but it just helps them really connect that they're going to that bathroom. So you're going to grab the picture and you're going to point to it and say, let's go potty, or let's go to the toilet, however you're using it in your daily language. Walk to the bathroom with the student. And you can say, we're going to the bathroom, we're going potty, and they can hold it. You don't have to be necessarily the one holding it, but you do need to have it with you. Once you get there, I would stick it on the bathroom door, have a little piece of Velcro, stick it on there. And then you're going to help the student pull down his clothes, pull down his pants, and sit on the toilet. The reason why we're doing that is because we're working on really going to the bathroom. Not every single step involved at the beginning. We want to make it as stress-free as possible when we're teaching toilet training. So at the beginning, you're going to help them take off their clothes. Now, if they're like, stop helping me, I've got it. Right, awesome. They can do it by themselves. But if they're struggling, help them. And then you're going to say, yay for you, your pants are down. You pulled your pants down. And then you're going to set the timer. You can set a timer on your phone. You can do the stand timers, whatever you decide to do, for 5 minutes. Continue to praise the student for sitting. So that means that you're probably going to have to be right there with them. I know, you're not going to you're sitting in their space, but you're going to be in the area. The child will remain seated for 5 minutes with you close by to supervise. If the timer rings and they've not used the bathroom, so they've avoided, assist them with pulling up their clothes. Do not call attention to the lack of elimination. Just kind of ignore it. And then you're going to set the timer again for 15 minutes. When the timer rings, you're going to do it again, but make sure you chart your data. So that thing that I have on, my bathroom door with the times, chart it every time. Now, if the first time you set it for 5 minutes and the child goes within that 5 minutes, you're going to celebrate, you're going to give them their reward along with verbal praise. Let them, let's say they went at 2 minutes and they went, let them get up, even if the timer hasn't rang yet. Assist him or her with washing their hands and exit the bathroom. And then you're going to set it for 30 minutes. When the timer rings, begin the process over again and chart your data. So if a student has an accident before the timer rings during that 15-minute wait time, if they didn't go within that 5 minutes, take him or her to the bathroom, change their clothes. Do not get upset. Don't scold them. Just stay very calm. Say, wet pants. You can go on the potty. Very calm. And provide minimal interaction when you're changing their clothes. We don't want it to start being something where they are trying to get attention, and so that's why they're not going on the potty. So give minimal interaction. Once the clothes have been changed, set the timer for 15 minutes while your child returns to the previous activity. Chart data and then start the bathroom routine again. And I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I have classroom full kids. What I recommend is most of the time, don't just have one kid that is in potty training. We have multiple. So I would definitely recommend you showing your assistants how to do this as well, and everyone being able to do this. We want to make sure there's that that generalization as well. So it's not just like they'll just potty for you. Like we want them to be able to go to the bathroom with their assistant as well. But we need to make sure everyone's on the same page. So, make sure that everyone's involved because it does take a village. If the student eliminates in the toilet, throw a party. Make a big deal about it, clap, cheer, and you can say, yay, you take over potty, woohoo, yay. Give them their reward and reinforcement. And then you'll assist them with wiping, pulling up their clothes, flushing, washing their hands, etc. Chart your data, and then start it again for 30 minutes. Now, you're taking data this whole time, so you're going to know how often they're going. And let's say they're going every time on the toilet, every 30 minutes. That means we really need to keep the schedule so far at 30 minutes. Let's say they go and then they go in an hour, hour and a half. Then we might be able to push it to 45 minutes, okay? But at the beginning, let's start with these times. Okay, so if they have an accident, we want them to help clean as much as possible. So, especially if it's on the toilet seat, grab some toilet paper, they can help clean up. We want to make sure that the experience just has natural consequences. It's not like we are going to be like, you can't believe you did that. No, don't do that. Just remain emotionally neutral. If they're having too many accidents, then we need to adjust the intervals to make it shorter. Also, too, if they're not going to the bathroom that often, maybe you have them all day and they only go once and they haven't had an accident, we might need to talk to the parents, have them talk to the doctor. They may not be getting enough water or liquids in their diet. So that's another really good thing that because of this, we're able to see. Also, I had a little girl who really struggled having BMs. And she would go 2 weeks without having a BM. And I was able to track that. And as we got, the parents really understood it too, they were able to keep on top of that. So she didn't get sick. So that's something we just want to make sure that the kids are healthy, they're getting enough water and enough fiber. All right. The next one is called habit toilet training. This is going to be your second type of toilet training, and it refers to training that provides regular access to toileting facilities. It provides a socially acceptable way to have dignity and improved hygiene when an individual is not a good candidate for the common toilet training. So let's say they didn't have a lot of those readiness indicators, but we need to be toilet trained. This is going to be the one that we're going to start with. The goal is to develop bladder and bowel control when the individual uses the toilet. It then becomes a learned habit by repeating the behavior in the same way over and over again. So it really helps the muscle of the bladder and being able to hold it and knowing when to go based on habit and time. So when is this going to be used? Maybe the individual shows no awareness of the need to urinate or defecate. The individual is lacking many of the readiness indicators. This individual is usually 4 to 6 years or older. Other training techniques have not been successful. The individual has a mental age lower than 18 months, but chronologically they're 4 and above. They show no or limited awareness or change when diapers and clothes are wet or soiled. So this is what it's going to look like. And this is going to start out with just once a day. So in the morning, give the student 2 to 4 ounces of liquid before toileting. I would really work with the parents on this one, especially because if you have a kid who doesn't necessarily like to drink water, maybe they can send juice. But have them drink 2 to 4 ounces of liquid before toileting. We're still going to use the visual of let's go to the potty. You're going to walk the student to the bathroom. You're going to say, we're going to go to the potty. Help the student pull down his clothes, pants, underwear, and sit on the toilet. We're going to do the same thing. Yay for you, you're pulling down your pants. So then this one. The child will sit on the toilet until they urinate. This may take up to 30 minutes. So make sure you have a timer. They may also need to stand up for a bit, take a small break. So have a bathroom basket in your bathroom. Fidget. I've put some books in there you can sing. I've done some learning time in the bathroom before, where I ask them questions, book cards, things like that. But things they might enjoy with or like will look at while they're going to the bathroom. This will serve to distract them and give them something to do while they sit on the toilet. If they have not urinated within 5 to 10 minutes, give them 8 to 10 more ounces of liquid while they toilet. So this is why it's kind of important to have something other than maybe just water, maybe a juice box, because it's going to be, and then you're going to wait. But they're still going to be on the toilet. So you're going to give them their little juice box or whatever while they're on the toilet. When they begin to urinate, remain quiet. At the end, once it's all done, then praise them for urinating. Good job for peeing on the potty. Yay for tinkling on the toilet. We're not just saying good job. We're being very specific with our praise. Great job for urinating. You know, you did it. For tinkling the toilet, we're very specific. And then you're going to assist them with wiping, pulling up everything. And then you're going to chart the data with the duration. So with the number of minutes they took to urinate. But you're only going to do this once a day. So you're going to start with it once a day until you're able to do it within 2 to 3 minutes of sitting on the toilet. This is not going to be a process where it takes 3 days. Like it's going to take a little bit longer than some other behavior training. Once they've mastered it though and are able to urinate 2 to 3 minutes sitting on the toilet, add 1 additional toileting time throughout the day. And then you're going to expand it. But we want to make sure that we're really being consistent and not taking on too much. Use your wet, dry data sheet to determine what time will work best. So, okay, you notice that we went in the morning, great, then after lunch they're going. So that might be a good time to do it again. And then just continue adding throughout the day until your child is able to urinate when you put him in or on the toilet. But remember, don't get upset, don't scold for having an accident. So, individualizing this. We want to make sure that everything we do, right, it's for the kid. It's based on them. A different approach may have worked great for another kid, but it doesn't always mean it's going to work for this kid. So we need to make sure we individualize it based on their data. Look at that baseline data, figure out what times during the day are they going to do contingency or are they going to do habit. Use visuals to help have clear expectations and motivation. And just some questions to ask are, what is working well? What am I doing at school, at home that's working well? What skills does the student have? What are the student's needs? Do they have any sensory issues? If they hate the way that it sounds, can I give them headphones? What can I do to help reduce the stress? Do we need to add it into their visual schedule? Do we need to have some social stories and narratives that really talk about what they can expect? Maybe when they go, they have a schedule, and if they love Paw Patrol, maybe it's Paw Patrol themed. We also want to make sure everything's within reach. So let's say the toilet's too tall. We need to have a little step stool. Everything's soap, faucets. This can also, help with them feeling more independent. Consider the feel of the toilet paper. It's really rough. They may not like it. So we might need to look at that. Provide a calm environment for you and to prevent frustration. customize it as much as possible by really thinking about the child as an individual. What communication skills are they going to need? What sensory issues is going on? Maybe the smell is really bothering them, so we need to use a different type of cleaner. If they have trouble with transition, we need to really make sure that we're planning throughout the day and taking out some surprises. Have a goal in mind, and then plan and goal may require revision. It may work, and then let's say they go on spring break, they're gone for 2 weeks, and they come back acting like they've never seen a toilet before. We might need to start back over, or we may need to change something. Tasks and task analysis. These are kind of like mini schedules, so you're going to break this skill down. So instead of just saying, go to the bathroom, right, first, pull down hand. Second, sit on potty. Third, go to the bathroom. Fourth, wipe. Stand up, pull up pants, go wash hands. I broke it down. Like, I know if I say go to the bathroom to maybe a neurotypical 10-year-old, they know exactly what to do. But maybe a 4-year-old with autism needs to have it broken down more. Hey, I went to the bathroom, but I didn't sit down and pull down my pants, but I went in there. So we need to break it down. Also, systemic desensitization. If you're having a kid that's scared of the toilet, first we need to work on just going into the bathroom. It's going to be exposure. We might go into the classroom and maybe on YouTube some flushing sounds. So if that's something that's scaring them, they press the button, it flushes. We could like play, pretend of something, and then they get a reward. So we're working on desensitizing them to that sound. Visual and behavior supports are going to be so important in the art toilet training. So please have a visual schedule. Like if you're, all right, first we have math, then we have some center time, then we're going to the bathroom, put that toilet on their chart. Once they go into the bathroom, have a step-by-step. Okay, first pull down pants. Helps them also not to forget some steps. It makes it less frustrating. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. And this can be really, however it is appropriate for that child's developmental level. If you have a kid that can read and is comprehending really well and just needs a quick checklist, just write it down for them. Sticker charts. This is a perfect way to reward. So at the beginning, we're gonna, when they do eliminate, we're gonna give them that goldfish or those bubbles right away. They did it, they got it. Well, as they start going more often, we're not going to give them bubbles every time, but they might have a sticker chart where they put a sticker on, and then every 5, they get to have bubbles. Social narrative. So these are social stories that are going to use like a storyline and clear pictures to really talk about going to the bathroom. So I am going to the bathroom. When I go to the bathroom, I do this and this and this. Sometimes I get scared. That's okay to feel that way, but I still need to try to go by sitting on the toilet. When I do go on the toilet, I get to have my bubbles and bubbles walk, whatever I'm earning. But it really spells it out for them and shows them what to expect. So here are just some examples. This is kind of a step-by-step. Pants down, sit on toilet, use toilet paper to wipe, pants up, wash hands. Here's some other ones. It's just on a little key ring. Here are different types of visual schedules. This one is left to right. You can do one left, right, up and down. But it also has my toilet chart. So they earn little potty tokens, and then they earn 4, and then they get their reward. Social narratives. We can use social narratives for pretty much anything, and I think they're some of the best ways to teach social and emotional skills as well. Here's another example. You can make your own as well. You can do it individualized to that kid. If they really love SpongeBob, let's say, you can do one even where the characters go into the bathroom. And, kids love it when They try to imitate things that they really like and enjoy. So maybe pick a character that they really like and show them going to the bathroom and completing the steps. So reward reinforcers. This just means that it's going to increase the likelihood of that behavior that will happen again. So if they do go to the bathroom and we reward them and it's reinforcing, then it's going to increase that they'll use the potty again. We do have to make sure that this reward is strong enough to really be reinforcing. So let's say I decided, oh, he likes bubbles. I'm just going to use bubbles. And it's really not that reinforcing to him. He really doesn't care about bubbles. Then that's a reinforcer. Let's say he loves the iPad. Well, okay, I can give you 10 minutes on the iPad if you urinate. But then if I use that for potty training, I can't use the iPad during the day for anything else. Whatever reward that we choose to use during toilet training can only be for toilet training. So let's say he's working for goldfish, loves goldfish, and we give him goldfish for urinating in the toilet. We can't then give him for snack. Make sure that you're okay and feel safe with whatever reward you're offering. Rewards can also not be given indefinitely. We must begin to phase them out once they start going to the bathroom. And then we're going to offer those social rewards as replacements, and like high five can replace the token order. But always praise their effort. Great job for going to the bathroom. Here's another example of a potty chart. We have some questions. If you decide that Skittles will be the reward for eliminating the toilet, do you give him or her Skittles for just sitting on the toilet? No. No. Because the goal was that they would eliminate on the toilet. They can already sit on the toilet. That's not the goal. The goal is for them to eliminate on the toilet. So they would not receive Skittles. Should you give him or her Skittles for helping you clean up the toys? No. Because if you're using the Skittles as a reward for going to the bathroom, then it can't be used for cleaning up the toys. It needs to be solely used for toilet training. Continuous reinforcement is provided after the expected behavior is shown every single time. We want to make sure we have continuous reinforcement that helps reinforce desired behaviors and helps meet expectations during toilet training. Rewards are given every time they demonstrate that behavior. Eventually, we're going to fade that, but at the beginning, we really want to make sure it's every time. This type of scheduled jumpstart kind of gets things going, the behavior, and will speed up the toilet training process. And then we have intermittent reinforcement. So once they're already going, we're kind of getting to the point where they're going every single time to the bathroom, then we need to fade these reinforcers. And that's what intermittent reinforcement is going to be. So it's the type of reinforcement given unscheduled for some expected and desired behavior. So you're going to get there's no pattern. This is going to the bathroom with their. So let's look at things that are really going to be getting ready. Do they need seat support? Which, if you have littles in your classroom, most likely they probably can't. If they can't touch the ground, we need something to prop it up. You can use a phone book and duct tape it off. You can use a squatty potty and screw teeth for things that can help you. Maybe they need a little toilet seat. Make sure that the smells maybe that you're cleaning with are not too strong. A bathroom basket. I recommend a bathroom basket in every single bathroom that you're going to be toilet training in. maybe a visual for the amount of toilet paper, right? They have a little bow, can't go past the bow, then you rip it. Maybe a splash guard. Here's some other ones. We need to look at, what type of rewards am I going to use as reinforcer? Also, will we use pull-ups or training underwear? I would recommend them. My thing is, if they're wearing a pull-up throughout the day and you're potty training, it's so much easier for them to just go in the pull-up. So get those pull-ups off. Put them in training underwear. We want to have preferred liquids, some salty snacks, have enough pairs of underwear. So really talk to the parents at home, hey guys, I need 5 pairs of underwear a day because we are not using pull-ups. Have reinforcers and reward charts, make sure they're individualized to things that they like. Step stool or take phone book. Those visual supports have visual schedule, communication supports. Bathroom basket, make sure you definitely sanitize it after every kid. Have gloves, paper towels, wipes, mops for cleanup. Have data sheets, have it laminated or in a pocket chart. Just anything else that you might need for an individualized program for your child. So now we're going to talk about some resistance to sitting or sits for very short periods of time. Make sure they're comfortable, softer, warmer in the seat. Provide reinforcement for sitting. Remember, that's what we're going to focus on first if they can't sit. Provide support for the child's feet. Desensitize by pairing with a pleasant experience. Sing to them. We did no more monkey jumping on the bed. You do songs like that, whatever they like. I had a kid who loved Baby Shark, so we sang Baby Shark every time we went and sat down on the toilet. Practice sitting at other times during the day. Sitting when they're having lunch, sitting at the carpet, and use those visual supports. Let's say that they really struggle. You're like, okay, we're not doing diapers or pull-ups, but they're really struggling with that feeling of it, not having it there. I put diapers on over the underwear. They're still feeling the underwear, but they have that diaper over it. We want to use underwear without tags or seams. Maybe one size smaller so it's a little tighter. Use social narratives, visual supports, and contact the OT. Also have them pick out their own underwear. We want big girl queenies or big boy underwear, and they want dinosaurs on them, or they want Princess Elsa, Queen Elsa. Have them help get excited about wearing underwear. If they're afraid of flushing, encourage the child to play with swirling water during other times of the day. Let your child know when you're going to flush and maybe help them in spigot. They're going to put on their headphones. Also, social narrative. The toilet's going to flush. It's going to make this sound. When it does make this sound, I can plug my ears or I can sing a song. Playing in the water or toilet paper. Remove the toilet paper holder from the holder until you're ready to use it. Use pre-measured toilet paper. You can also put safety catches on the toilet seat covers and allow water play in appropriate places. And this can also be a reward. You go to the toilet, you go to the bathroom, you're water playing. Resist being cleaned. Establish a cleanup routine that's really quick and comfortable. Make sure the paper, the wipes are comfortable enough too. The temperature, the texture, and also a social narrative. Fear of having a bowel movement. Make sure you're noticing, hey, they never go at school, talk with the parents. Are they going at home? If they're not, they need to probably take him to the doctor and figure out, is he getting enough fiber, and let a professional handle that. Social narrative. Also, you can provide, if they're really scared of going beyond, maybe it's a sound, maybe it's a feeling. What you do is you get the pull-up, okay? And you're going to lift the toilet seat, and you're going to put it down there. you're going to start with the child going into the pull-up. As they get more comfortable with that, you're going to cut a hole in the diaper, okay, or the pull-up with a line. And so they're going and dropping into the hole, but they still feel comfortable because they see the pull-up there, and then you'll be able to remove it. Bowel movements will probably be more difficult than urine training, but we want to collect the baseline data for a minimum of a week. Check with the physician, with the parents, if they have any questions, if there's any questions. You might want to talk about intake of high fiber foods. Put the child on the toilet approximately 30 minutes after breakfast, lunch, and dinner for approximately 5 to 10 minutes if we're having issues with it. But to start, we only want to provide the diaper maybe for her to use in the bathroom. So they go in the bathroom, they can put their diaper on and then eliminate, and then have them place the contents in the toilet. Or you can cut a hole in a diaper while the child's wearing it. Or you can do it where it's sitting in the toilet. Okay, so make sure that you are really taking data, baseline data, and then once you actually start this process, continue to collect it. If you have any questions, please email me, call me, especially anything specific. If you have a certain child that you're like, hey, I'm trying this, it's not working, I would love to help. So please contact me. And I'm so happy that y'all came to this training. And I hope y'all have a great day.